Bro, listen to this. She's getting divorced from a man who saved her life. He helped her get sober, paid for rehab, changed her career, and gave her everything. Now her body is rejecting him completely. This is a classic red flag story every man needs to hear.
Well, I'm getting divorced, and probably like most people, I never thought I would be. I live in Washington, D.C., and I've been with my partner, Chris. We've been married for over 5 years. We get together. We've been married over 5 years. We've been together maybe like 8 or 9. I'm 36 and he's 46, and we started dating when I was 27 and he was 37. And the moment I saw him, it was like the earth stopped. I still think about that day all the time because of how significant it was. I've never felt that with anybody before. And when we went on our first date, I was so anxious I had a panic attack when I was trying to walk up to his house, and I left and got in a cab. So I tried again the next day, and I started having a panic attack. I was so nervous, but I took medicine, took a Xanax, and I went inside, and it was magical. And I knew that I would live in that house.
Notice this right away, guys. She says the earth stopped when she saw him. She was 27. He was 37. She had panic attacks just to meet him. This is classic fantasy bonding. She saw him as the perfect guy who could make her life better. But she was already anxious and unstable from the start.
I just knew. It felt like home. And I have never pursued someone like that before. I just knew, wow, this is a person I would love to have in my life. I knew that this person could make my life better. I had never dated that caliber of a person with such beautiful character before, and it's something I really wanted, and I felt it. And so that's what we did. We dated, and I was moving back to North Carolina. We ended up in a long distance relationship, and about 8 months later, I moved back to DC, and I moved in with him under the conditions that I got sober. I have always been in a relationship, and so often in the next relationship, I'm mourning the one that came before, and that was definitely happening with him. And while I was living alone, I just had like the most space ever, because I have had partners since I was 12. And so living alone, I drank a lot alone, and I got really close to getting in a lot of trouble. I was drinking and driving and being in really risky situations, and about 2 weeks before I moved in with him, he was like, I don't think this is a good idea. And I knew there's no freaking way I was going to ruin this relationship and choose alcohol. So I got sober, just cold turkey, no AA, no community, no research or anything. I just was like purely doing it for him. I moved to DC, and it was great until I realized I don't know who the fuck I am without alcohol.
Here's the big red flag. She didn't get sober for herself. She did it only for him. Cold turkey, no AA, no support. That almost never lasts. She even said she was doing it purely for him. When a woman changes only for a man, it's temporary. Later, she will blame him for everything.
So I tried my best. I failed a couple times, and eventually he provided me the opportunity to get sober by paying for me to go to rehab, and I did that. And after that, I went to a trauma center and just finally was like, I'm going to dedicate my life to being sober. But in between all of that, there was a lot of fun, a lot of craziness, a lot of partying, so many good memories. And eventually, once I got sober, we just grew apart. We grew apart because I realized you have to change your whole life if you want to get sober. You gotta change the friends, unless your friends are going to support you in it. But most of the people around me were people I was partying with. I had to change my career. You just can't be around the same people, places, and things. And that was challenging because he didn't have the same healing journey as me. And I don't think maybe he was prepared, nor I, to go to a trauma center, remember all the things that had happened in my life, process them, and then learn who I am now as this sober person who has been through things and now has like gained agency and autonomy, and I want to be my own person. I want to be more than just someone's wife. I want to be more than just, you know, attractive to people. I started caring about like my spirituality. What is my connection to the divine? What do I care about? How can I be in service to other people? What are my goals? What does my art look like now? How can I be creative? I just catapulted into this massive journey and came out a really different person. I mean, I used to have really long blonde hair, and now I always have a different hairstyle. I'm covered in tattoos and piercings, and yeah, I'm just a very vocal, free, loud, anxious person that lives my life in healing. I know it is an inside job that goes on forever and ever and ever and ever, and I'm just constantly evolving.
Watch what happens next. She goes to rehab and trauma center. She changes her whole life. New hair, tattoos, spirituality, career. She says she wants to be more than just a wife. This is the I found myself phase. The man who helped her through the hard times suddenly becomes negative energy. Classic story.
So, we have been in therapy since the moment we got together because my partner had been married before me and knew that communication was key. So, from the moment we started dating, we'd been in therapy. So, maybe not consistently like once a week, but like 7 years of therapy. And towards the end, I would say once a week plus personal therapy. He was in group therapy. Like, we were doing work. But now I'm kind of like, what work were we doing? Like, it's also confusing. I'm like, were we just speaking into the void? All I know is that I just got to a point where like my body was like, I'm rejecting this. My body was rejecting physical touch from him. And I thought, maybe I'm going through early menopause. Like maybe my body doesn't do the things that it used to do. I found myself annoyed with him very easily. I found his energy to be negative, and all of a sudden I was looking at this person that was the most magical thing I'd ever experienced, and I found myself wanting to be in bed all the time and kind of avoiding him and not wanting to have sex, not wanting physical touch. Kind of when we were out in public together, like kicking him under the table, thinking like, oh my God, he's talking too much. And just like, I just felt like everything he did was annoying me.
Now her body starts rejecting him. No more touch, no sex. She feels annoyed by everything he does. She even thought maybe it's early menopause. Bro, this is the point where the savior becomes the enemy. He was her caretaker, but once she felt strong, she didn't want him anymore. This hurts a lot of good men.
It felt horrible. I did not want to feel like that. I always felt so appreciative for how much he provided for me. He allowed me the opportunity to change my career, to get sober, to not have to work full time. And I guess we kind of took on roles. Like he kind of saw me as this sick person and he the caretaker. And I didn't necessarily see it that way. But when someone thinks you're sick, it's hard not to believe that you are. We went to Paris together. We had an amazing time. We'd been talking about maybe changing the dynamics of our relationship. And when we got back from Paris, we were like, yeah, let's do it. We're going to be polyamorous. We're going to read Polysecure, Ethical Slut, go to therapy, talk about it. And I mean, immediately we stumbled out of the gate. I fell for a friend that was in rehab, just like worst case scenario. Basically the first person that physically touched me I fell for, and that was really shitty because I was like taking this person to rehab, and while they were under the influence they were like all over me, and I just had not felt physical touch like that in a while, and it just got me like, whoa, that didn't work. And we made a couple rules for keeping our relationship safe, and he broke them right away. which was we weren't going to hook up with friends. A girlfriend of mine came to town. We all went out to dinner together. It was great. And then the next day, when I went out of town, he went to her hotel room and they made out, or, whatever they did. But who cares? I mean, I do, but you never really know the truth. But I'll say I believe them. They made out. And I thought, wow, this really sucks. We, gave ourselves all this freedom and we made a couple rules and, immediately those have been abandoned. And then eventually he asked me if we can just abolish the friendship rule because he wanted to date someone that he had known for a while that was a coworker, at once was an employee of his and now a friend. And my gut was no, I don't like this. But I thought about it and he made a good point. Oh, if we're going to be kitchen table poly, you'd be friends with this person anyways. And now I see where my argument was on that. But I was sure, let's do it. And they dated. I met someone who I'm currently with. We all hung out together. Everything seemed great. And then we just were not able to heal our relationship. We were finding what we wanted.
So what was their solution? They decided to become polyamorous after a trip to Paris. They read books, made rules, but broke them immediately. She fell for the first guy who touched her. He hooked up with her friend. This is what happens when the spark is gone. They try open relationship, and it destroys everything faster.
Wanted in other people, and that was satisfying enough. And soon divorce became a topic, and faster than I can say divorce, it just started happening.
After 5 years of marriage and 8 to 9 years together, it all fell apart. They did therapy for 7 years, but it didn't help. She got what she wanted. Freedom, new life, new identity. But the man who supported her through alcohol, rehab, and everything, he became the one she had to leave. Bro, this is a hard truth. Never try to fix or save a woman who is not ready to fix herself. If she changes only for you, one day she will resent you for it. When her body starts rejecting you and small things annoy her, it's already over. Good men get used as stepping stones in these healing journeys. If this story sounds familiar to you, drop "I told you so" in the comments. Like this video if it answered questions no one else could. This was Divorce Drama Volume 21. Stay strong. Protect your peace.